Hello, everyone. Welcome to Regal's Q3 product webinar. We will just wait a couple more minutes to let people in, and then we'll go ahead and get started. And I'll quickly plug for anyone who's in the New York area, since we know it's really hot outside, Regal is running a campaign to play with our AI voice agents and get a popsicle. We will predict your popsicle flavor based on some personality questions. So if you're in NYC and you're hot and you have some free time around lunch, come on by to, I think it's John Doe Bar. That's where it's at, and get a popsicle.
They're very good. And it's a very fun questionnaire. I think we got some chocolate, coconuts. Come by.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. I'm Rebecca Green. I'm the co-founder and CTO of Regal. And
I'm Yael. I'm the director of product and product marketing.
And welcome. We're going to go ahead and start the Q3 product webinar for Regal. And just to call out what the agenda will be for the webinar. So we'll start with a bit of an intro about Regal, just in case there are some people on the call who are a little bit less familiar. We'll then head into a recap of what we've released in the first half of the year and a really cool demo that kind of brings it all together into the workflow of building and releasing AI agents. And then we'll talk about our vision for the second half of the year and where the product is going. And finally, we'll end with a Q&A session. But if for any reason somebody can't stay for the whole webinar, we are recording and we will send it over email and you can watch it on 1.5. So there are some advantages. All right, let's kick it off. So Alex and I, when we started the business, always knew we were trying to make conversations between brands and customers more customer friendly, more brand forward, and more personalized and programmatic. And it's been so exciting over the last year and a half to see that vision come to fruition even more so with AI agents. So we believe that both for the benefit of companies and consumers, 90% of CX interactions will be AI agent led by 2035. And that the best orgs will successfully achieve that outcome much faster. And part of the job of our platform is to help you all do that. So that's because the old way of human-only contact centers was slow, one-size-fits-all experiences, expensive, limited capacity, operationally complex, and therefore difficult to scale really great experiences. But with AI-powered conversations, they are fast, hyper-personalized, cost-effective, 24/7 availability, which means they have unlimited scalability. And so that's why we're so excited. And the thing I'll call out is, or I should say, but the thing I'll call out is succeeding with AI agents. It's not a layup, it's not guaranteed. And there's been a lot of chatter on LinkedIn. Gartner has come out and now forecasted that it believes 40% of AI deployments will actually fail. And so I wanted to touch on a little bit of what Regal does differently and how we make sure our customers succeed where others don't. And there's three things that are involved in that. The first thing you should be thinking about is what's your company's unfair advantage in AI? We like to think of it as not about the plane, but it's about the pilot. So your edge in solving your customer's problem better than anyone else. How do we bring that to life in your AI agents? It's less about exactly which underlying LLM or which underlying TTS provider you use. It's about how do we take your workflows, your know-how about your business goals, and bring them to life in an AI agent that's really successful. The second thing is what you should look for in an AI agent tech partner as a result. And our belief is that you should look for a partner who's going to help build with, right? Build agents that are customized to your company and customers. And so that includes both the tech and the people. In terms of the tech, we believe it's about not necessarily the underlying models. The underlying models are great and always getting better, but it's about that application layer on top of those models to help you configure agents and customize them, A/B test, get insights, monitor, learn what works and what doesn't, and improve them over time. And then it's about our team and the forward and our model of our service model, I should say, which is pairing you with forward deployed engineers who have experience with complex voice AI examples from lots of different industries, lots of different use cases, and the time to engage with you to understand your business deeply and find the right solutions and build with you. And then the third piece is how should you judge the success of an AI agent project to make sure you don't just ship and then it turns out it's not what you imagined. And so we believe you should judge based on successful outcomes, the business goals that you set, not technical milestones. And that's how we judge our performance as well, as a team and as a platform. So in support, that might look like containment rates or first call resolution or CSAT. Whereas in lead gen, it could be qualification, conversion, things like that. And finally, in operations, it might be the cost or the efficiency of the different calls that you're placing. And so I wanted to just, before we get to what we shipped, call out some of the business outcomes from Regal AI agents that we've seen be built actually in just the last month alone, either by customers themselves or built with our forward deployed engineers. So you could see the breadth of the types of AI agent deployments that are working on the Regal platform. I think we've moved beyond, maybe last year it was, how do you do appointment setting and scheduling? And that was the big aha for AI voice agents. But you can see how unique and interesting each of these use cases is. So for example, in the Medicare Advantage industry, it's a very seasonal industry. And during the AEP period, volume and demand like massively increases. And it's very hard to hire a ton of people overnight and train them and be prepared. And it's very expensive as well for customers calling in to talk about and qualify for Medicare Advantage plans. We have a handful of AI agents in the space with different customers that are performing as well as humans in doing those qualification calls. Obviously, zero wait time, infinite scalability. And what's more is they're delivering a 96% CSAT for customers, which is exciting. A totally different industry, roadside assistance, like you're stranded on the side of the road, your vehicle is broken down in some way, and you call in, and it's called First Notice of Disablement. We've got a handful of these use cases live now too, and it's really, really interesting to hear an AI voice agent patiently, calmly talking to a customer who is in a pretty stressful situation, geolocating their position, figuring out where the nearest tow location might be, validating their policy so we make sure they can actually get the service and the provider they need. And we're seeing a 60% containment rate, which means that the AI can handle those cases all on its own without having to escalate to a human and go ahead and dispatch a provider. The third one here is an e-commerce use case, and it's more of an inbound support, traditional support use case. And because this one happens to sell devices or technology, there's a big device troubleshooting component. And think about, somebody buying electronics or somebody buying cell phones or hearing aids or things like that, being able to work through with a customer a problem or an issue of like, my device is not working, something as nebulous as that, and then having to leverage a knowledge base to efficiently walk the customer through a set of troubleshooting steps, be very reactive and responsive to their level of technical savvy and the way that they describe things, and change directions if needed to try to get to the right resolution. Sometimes asking the customer to go take an action offline and then call back and picking up the conversation where they left off. It's a really cool use case, and we are seeing a 73% solution rate on those calls. And then finally, in the insurance industry, we've got a lot of these live across different verticals of insurance, qualification use cases, but also collections use cases. Someone's policy is at risk of lapsing, and being able to notify them of that and collect on it so that their policy doesn't lapse. And we're seeing those cases, AI agents are performing at the same level as humans who were previously doing the call. So those are just a couple of the use cases. We have a really wide variety of use cases. That's exciting to see. And now I'm going to hand it back to Yael, who's going to go through the highlights of what we released in the first half of the year and show you a demo of how it's all coming together.
Great. So really excited to show off not everything that we shipped in the first half of the year, but I would say some of the highlights, the most impactful features, and let's take a look.
To some of the features that we shipped in the first half of the year. And the way I'm going to do that is I'll show you how we used our very own AI agent platform to build our very own AI agent, Reggie, which sits on our website. So prospects can call in, they can ask questions about the company, the product, and how they can best leverage AI agents to drive revenue for their business. So on this view, you're seeing our agent builder. We have a number of pre-built templates to help you get started much faster for common use cases across voice and SMS, like confirmation or payment collection. And you'll see those are pre-filled with the tone that we think best matches that agent. So let's build our agent. It's going to be a voice agent. And you can see I can select from one of the pre-built templates that I just showed you, or completely start from scratch. This is going to be a single state agent. Multi-state is coming really soon. So I'll give you a preview of that in just a little bit. And let's take a look. So you can see here, we've compartmentalized all of the core components that we think are essential to capture in a prompt to make sure that the agent is predictable, effective, and consistent at scale. Let's open up this top section. So the goal of this agent is to educate and qualify prospects. Next, let's take a look at some of the task steps. So I've already plugged in a number of our internal actions. I could also hook up a custom action if I wanted to, for example, update an external CRM. And all this agent is doing is asking a few questions to make sure that the prospect is actually a good fit for Regal. Over the past year, we've partnered with a number of text-to-speech and AI providers. So we now offer multilingual support. You can choose from a variety of AI models to fit your particular use case and the kind of reasoning the agent will need to do. And we have a large selection of voices that you can use to match your brand identity, fit your particular use case, or tailor to your customer segment by gender, age, or accent. So to finish setting up this agent, we'll want to hook up a knowledge base and set up some data points to collect with custom AI analysis. But before we get into that, let me just give you a quick preview of our multi-state builder. Multi-state is valuable if your agent has really complex branching logic, and loading a prompt by adding all those steps in and sub-steps in is actually going to lead to degraded performance. And so that's why this kind of drag and drop builder is really helpful. You can see it's all prompt-based, so you can drag in a prompt node, an action node, or a logic node, and then pre-fill what you expect the outcomes to be. So a simple example could be the agent asks the contact a question and they can respond yes or no, and yes should lead to a certain path, and no might lead to them being disqualified and ending the call. So going back to our agent, let's set up a knowledge base. This is what the agent will reference when it gets asked common questions, for example, about the Regal product or the Regal company. I'll give it a description here, and this isn't just for aesthetic purposes. It's actually referenced when the LLM reviews the prompts to know when to retrieve information from this knowledge base and which knowledge base to retrieve from. So I'm going to upload a web page. Our knowledge base can actually scrape your site that you put in, and you can see how easy it is to unselect a few subpages here. I could also upload PDFs or documents, or if there's something small missing, I can just add that text in here really easily. So let's save that. Next, let's set up some data points to extract from conversations using custom AI analysis. So here I'm creating a data point use case and I'm giving it a description. So I want to know during that conversation with prospects, what are the use cases that are coming up? And I provide some examples like lead qualification and appointment scheduling, which come up often. So this is not only useful for reporting, I can actually action on it later by, for example, customizing the follow-up SMS with information about their specific use case. In this example, you're seeing support for a different kind of data point where I define exactly the output that I'm looking for, in this case, interest level. So here's a sample call, and you can see here the customer, me, says, I'm specifically interested in inbound usage, and the custom AI analysis is detecting that the use case is inbound call handling, and the interest level is interested. All right, it's time to put the pieces together. So I'm just going to add the knowledge base to my agent. I'm going to quickly select the data points that we added earlier with custom AI analysis. And now we're ready to test. So let's first sanity check the voice, make sure it sounds good.
Hi there, this is Marissa calling from Regal. I'm reaching out since you filled out our interest form. Is now a good time to chat?
Okay, that wasn't bad. I actually liked the tone. I'm just going to make her speak a little bit faster because this is a sales call and I couldn't hear very well, so I'm just going to up that volume. Let's say that I've gotten the voice to a point where I feel good about it. Now it's time to sanity check the logic. Is the AI agent actually going through the steps that I've defined? So I already set up a test value for my name, so I can make sure, and you can see here in the greeting, the AI agent is actually referencing that dynamic context variable in the prompt. She's asking, is now a good time to chat? I say, not really. So now she's asking for a better time and trying to reschedule, and this is exactly what I want her to do, so this is going well, but we've hit an error here. We can't schedule the callback. And this is actually because my test contact doesn't have a phone associated with it. So that action will always fail. But sometimes this does help you realize that you need to go and make changes to the prompt. Okay, so now we feel good about the voice and we've sanity checked the logic, but we could be missing things. And that's where test cases and simulations comes into play. And this is coming really soon, which I'm very excited about. A test case is meant to capture a small part of the conversation. So you might have a test case for every objection or every qualification status, or a test case for making sure the agent is greeting the contact properly or ending the call at the right time. So if I wanted to, I could start from scratch and define via text the kind of interaction that I want to be testing. But in this case, I want to make sure I have more comprehensive coverage and I don't want to spend hours on this exercise. So I'm going to have Regal help me out. Our LLM is actually reviewing your prompt and generating test cases based on where we think coverage is needed. These aren't just immediately ready to go. We still recommend reviewing them to make sure that they are capturing the right scenarios, but you could edit them really easily. And here's an example saying if the agent reaches a voicemail while trying to connect, it should leave a personalized voicemail message for the contact. So actually this one I'd be comfortable running, and let me show you what it looks like to run one of these tests. So under the hood, Regal is simulating a conversation between contacts generated by AI and your AI agent. And this means you don't have to waste hours of your time dialing this agent and coming up with things to say. We're actually creating the conversations for you. So what this will capture is the actual conversation, and then you'll need to manually review that to make sure that the agent is behaving as expected. What's coming in the second half of the year is an automated evaluation suite. So when you create that customized success criteria, we will evaluate that simulated conversation against that and let you know if we think that conversation meant the agent passed or failed. And this makes it much easier as you make changes to the agent to regression test. You don't have to generate new conversations to make sure that it's still acting as expected. You just run the same test cases that you ran for the previous version, and you can be confident rolling it out. So now that the test has run, here is a simulated conversation. You can see every bit of speech between the contact and the agent, as well as action, invocations, and retrieval from the knowledge base. So this makes it much easier for you to QA at scale. So now we've run comprehensive testing. We feel good to roll this out. This is an inbound agent, so it's going to be connected to IVR. But for outbound cases, we also support connecting the AI agent to a power dialer or progressive dialer. And now it's time to see, well, how did it do? How many calls did it make? And is it actually successful on these calls? So for that, we have this custom Looker dashboard. We pair every brand with an implementation manager that helps you define success and tailor this dashboard to what success means for you. And for us, this is a prospecting sales agent. And so we care about transfer rate. This might look different for you. And we can see high level stats here on how many calls is it actually transferring. Oh, some transfers are leading to failures. What are the top reasons that those transfers fail? And we can also break outcomes further by those custom AI analysis points, like the customer's use case or interest level. So if the agent was performing at that 95% level, which is what we strive for, then that's great. We can easily scale it out. But what if it's not performing? One of the hardest challenges that we faced is figuring out what to do when the agent isn't performing. How do you know what's going wrong, what problems have the biggest impact, and what to do about it? One of the ways we've gone about that is analyzing the vast volume of conversational data and highlighting insights for customers about what problems are coming up most and what their impact is. So I'm excited to give you a preview of Regal IQ. We're starting out with this dashboard. We're using semantic chunking to cluster moments in the conversation into topics. For example, I might have thought that the most common thing that would come up on these prospect calls is around pricing. But looking at this, I see the top topic is actually around company and product information. So this kind of insight can help eliminate biases about what is even happening on these calls. If I scroll down further, I'm able to see the top 10 topics as well as the top 10 objections and questions that are coming up. So already, if I see common questions that I know aren't covered in the knowledge base or in the prompt, I can go and make those updates to get that coverage. If I keep scrolling down, I might be wondering, well, what are they asking about the company or the product? And if we look into the subtopics, we see there are questions or topics around ROI and how we compare to competitors. So that's actually just insightful for me to know in the sales and marketing world. But if I scroll down even further, more importantly, I'm able to see the outcomes of these conversations based on the topic. And for example, for this top topic, we're actually seeing really high contact sentiment. So these calls are going pretty well. However, for pricing conversations, contact sentiment is much lower. So we'll come back to that in a second. If we scroll all the way down to the bottom, this dashboard shows you not only which topics come up most, but what is coming up more and more today so that you can focus your improvements and your review around the conversations of highest impact. So let's come back to that earlier insight. Pricing conversations are not going well. And what this dashboard allows me to do is, instead of looking at a very biased sample of conversations and trying to figure out patterns, I can actually dig specifically into conversations mentioning this subtopic and see exactly what is going wrong in them. So what I learned from looking at those transcripts is that actually the agent doesn't have great answers to pricing related questions. And this makes a lot of sense because the knowledge base we put together for this agent is referencing our blog, which has no pricing information. So now I know I need to go back into my agent and either update the prompt or create another knowledge base with more pricing information. And because I'm seeing a lot of questions around pricing, I'm going to choose that knowledge base route. So let me show you how easy it is to go back to that agent and make that update. I already made a pricing knowledge base, so I'm just going to connect that to the agent. And when I save, this new version of the agent is going to get deployed automatically. So I should see the results right away. Alternatively, if I wanted to make changes to the agent prompt, I might want to compare between two kinds of changes. And I could do that easily by duplicating the agent and running an A/B test. In the future, we'll support variants, so that'll make this experimentation even faster than it was before. So hopefully this gave you an overview of how Regal captures the entire AI agent lifecycle, from building to customizing, hooking up knowledge, extracting data points with custom AI analysis, testing, monitoring, deriving insights, and ultimately iterating quickly so that the agent can get better and better over time.
All right, there you have it. So that's an overview of some of the stuff that we shipped in the first half of the year. And a lot of the things that I previewed are coming really soon or are already in some customers' hands in early access. So those things are the conversation flow builder for building a more complex agent with branching logic that is coming really soon. Next, Regal IQ is already in the hands of a few customers, and we're excited to keep iterating on this and learning from their feedback and roll it out to more brands. And lastly, test cases and simulations are also in early access, and excited to get feedback on those and roll those out to the rest of our AI agent users so that they can leverage this automated testing at scale. So next, I'm going to hand it back to Rebecca to talk about what we have planned for the rest of the year.
Awesome. Thanks, Yael. You know, my takeaway from that insights were, if people were too happy about our pricing, that we're not charging enough. So it's a little different. All right. So before we get into the thick of what we're going to do in the second half of the year, I just want to recap from that demo video that Yael shared. How did we think about the first half of the year and what was driving that product roadmap? So this is the workflow that it requires to build and deploy AI agents. And everything we built in the first half of the year was around each of these buckets and making it possible and giving you all the tooling to actually execute what Yael just demoed. And in the second half of the year, I'll call this a product vision, just to clarify. We will go through specific features, but everything here is, it's subject to change. We like to get feedback and get influence from our customers and prospects to make sure we're building the things that are most valuable for you. But the vision for the second half of the year, we kind of have two themes that we're focused on. One is, how do we get to not just AI agents that are live, but fast and eventually self-improving agents. And it's really combining each of these different pieces of the workflow into a flywheel where, Yael demoed how we build the agent, but not all the pieces are already automatically connected, right? And so it's making each of those pieces better and getting them to be more connected and letting you go through that workflow cycle much faster so that, you can improve agents quickly through built-in insights, streamlined A/B testing, and then faster issue detection, experimentation, iteration. And that'll also lead to agents themselves being able to present to you ideas about how they can get better so that it becomes almost like one click for you to say like, yes, deploy. So that's, I'll explain the feature sets we're building to get us there. And then the second theme of the year, apologies for the image. This was ChatGPT generated because I couldn't think of the way to represent this idea, but it's what we call borderless contact center. So many of you are, contact center leaders, some of you are product leaders, engineering leaders, but the traditional contact center is going away. That's already been happening over the last decade in the sense that it used to be, there was literally a building or multiple buildings where people sat and conducted conversations with your customers. That went away with outsourcing, that went away with COVID and work from home and all of that. But the boundaries of the contact center are also changing with regard to how customers interact with the contact center and think about interacting with a brand. In the sense that, and all of us have been on the other side of customer service calls or sales calls, like you no longer, our vision is that you should no longer have to, bucket an hour on your calendar to think about, I'm going to go call this brand to work through this issue that I'm having, find the phone number, pick up the phone, talk to them, specifically know that it's this type of issue. So I'm going to talk to an agent in the contact center about this particular type of subject matter, or find the phone number for a different subject matter. And instead, the vision is, hey, I already have a website or I already have an app in the way that I interface with the brand. Could I just go there, click a button and start talking about my issue? And maybe that is a traditional contact center or customer support issue. Maybe it's, hey, I'm evaluating the brand to see if I want to work with them. And I kind of want to hear the CEO's perspective about why they started the company or what's most important and how they're thinking about their customer service. And so maybe I can have that conversation instead. And so it's redefining the boundaries of what it means to interact with a brand about different things that customers are interested in. And the reason why we believe that's possible now is because AI agents can represent the persona and the information of everyone from the CEO down to the customer support agent. And because you already have areas where customers are interacting with your brand, why not have the AI agent ready and available right there where they are to engage? So those are the two themes that are guiding the second half of the year. I'll just start going through that first one, fast/self-improving or eventually self-improving agents, and talk through each of these. So the first one is enhanced test logic. We already have, as you guys know, an area of the application where when you're building your AI agent, you can kind of type in, you can also do it through voice, but type in a conversation and see how the agent, you would play the customer, the agent plays the agent, and you would see how the conversation would unfold. And one of the things we're doing is enhancing that so that you could also play the voice and hear what it would have sounded like. You can see what disposition it would have chosen at the end of the conversation and all of your custom AI analysis that you configured just to make it faster to get to the monitoring, right? Even before launch. And so that's how we're connecting the idea of the testing with monitoring right from that experience. The second one is test case evaluation powered by AI. So Yael already demoed the fact that we automatically generate test cases, you can modify them and then run them at scale. And what we're adding into that is an AI who will evaluate and judge how the AI agent performed against those different test cases. So we'll say which ones passed, which ones failed, and then you can review just the ones that failed so that it saves you time to get very quickly to launch. And this is kind of connecting back to our today we have the concept of QA scorecards, and it's kind of letting you do that before launch. And then it will automatically build the QA scorecard for you through these test criteria so that post-launch, you're also evaluating against the same things. The third feature set is around custom agent dashboards. So already today, you know that we build dashboards for you and set you up with an AI agent dashboard, or you yourself can go into the reporting section and build a dashboard that's unique to each agent. However, here, again, we want to bring the components together and make the workflow much faster. When you build an agent, we will start to automatically render and generate a dashboard dedicated to that agent. You already pick what are the metrics that matter to you. You've already configured your custom AI data points that you want to take out of it. So you should have an automatic report for that specific agent right there where you built the agent. So you can, as you're running test calls even, start seeing how the agent is performing and then have that one-stop place for you to actually view those metrics and monitor You could also then go modify it, right? And edit it from there and expand on it. So this feature set, one of the things we've discovered as we've launched AI agents and worked with customers to continuously improve them, there's kind of several areas and several types of analysis you want to conduct beyond just the basic monitoring to figure out, what are the places that you can improve an AI agent. And so examples of those different analyses could be thinking about the conversation like a funnel and understanding what are the friction points, like where are customers frustrated, like where are their negative sentiment in the conversation, or where are they dropping off in the conversation. And so if you think about it like your website and there's funnel analytics, this is one of those types of analytical processes or analyses you can go through that's common to figure out, oh, it's at the collect zip code stage. I need to go figure out what's going on there and hyper focus on that so you can get more people down the happy path. That's one of those types of analyses. Another type is usually there's something missing in your knowledge base, right? Your customers are asking things and your AI agent is saying, I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to that. Let me transfer you. So I'll show you a solution for that. And then the third piece is the prompt itself, right? The agent isn't doing what you believe you instructed it to do or what it should do in certain cases. So how do you go identify that and improve the prompt? So this first one is a solution for the funnel analytics, right? Being able to visualize the drop-off points, the paths, and the friction points against your actual agent conversation, and understand what percent is going down each path, where is it problematic, and dig into that to actually improve it and generate a better performing AI agent. The second one is around taking the insights from Regal IQ, which is understanding what are the topics your customers are asking about, what are the reasons for calling, what are the questions, what are the objections they're coming up with, and recognizing when the AI agent is not handling those well or not giving them sufficiently successful answers, and moving that to not just insights, but like a suggestion of where is that happening and what might a suggested improvement be. And that improvement, as I said, might be to the knowledge base. Like the agent tried to go to your knowledge base, but it didn't have anything about pricing. And so it didn't know what to say. And that helps you decide, okay, I need to add more to my knowledge base. Or it could be it was in the agent prompt that told it to do something, but it didn't end up calling that function, or it didn't end up going down that path. Here's a suggested way to rewrite your prompt to make it so that the agent will understand what it's supposed to do. And then you could like one click to kind of make it happen. Then the vision is not only now do you have all these suggestions and you want to put them live, but how do you do it in a safe way where you can actually quickly see what the improvement or outcome was of those different changes. And so this is making A/B testing simpler. It's already possible in the Regal app, but this is really getting it to be like that one-click experience where you can have 3 different versions of your agent at different percentages that they're live, press go, and all of a sudden you have data back to know if that improved agent is winning, and then you can go put it to 100%. All right, so those are the feature sets and the vision for fast and self-improving agents. The other vision was about borderless contact center, and just to talk through some of the features that we're releasing in that area. So the first is WebRTC, which is the ability to embed AI voice agents directly into your web or mobile app where customers are, and let them, at a click of a button on any subject matter they have interest in, start talking to an AI agent, and you could determine based on the context, right? These are context-aware agents, so you can know like where in your app was the customer and what was the history of their conversations. And so, if I'm in a certain place of your app and I press go to talk to an AI agent, maybe you send me to a specific agent because I'm in the billing part of the app, or maybe you send me a different agent because I'm in the sales part of the app, or I'm in a troubleshooting part of the app. You can define exactly how you want to direct the customer, but that way it feels seamless and magical to the customer. And then this vision is around, it's kind of twofold. It's around omni-channel agents, but it's the ability to have shared contexts around, to build once your agents in Regal and then deploy them across any channel and have shared context across them. So they can use the same knowledge bases, they can use the same prompts, they can use the same history of the customer experiences across the different channels, and you can deploy them across voice, SMS. You can leverage an API to deploy them in a chat provider or an email, wherever across your channels of communication or platform, you want to be able to communicate with your customers and have the same agent be doing it regardless of the channel. And what's interesting is like different channels warrant different ways of communicating, right? Emails need subject lines and they can be lengthier and they can attach files. SMS should be like succinct and have emojis maybe. And voice is obviously very different. The way that you might vocalize something, you don't want paragraphs of text, you want to be really succinct. So the product will solve for that as well, such that depending on the channel you choose to have the agent respond, we will produce channel specific or channel relevant types of responses. All right, let's go ahead and take questions.
Perfect. So throw them in the chat. Let's see what you got. Thank you so much for joining as well. Rebecca spoke to our vision. It's not set in stone. It's where we think we're headed, but we're always open to feedback. So please share that along with us. And we'll follow up with a recording as well.
Thank you, everyone.
For joining. Bye.